I'm a huge sucker for games that have a very unique style and they go all in on that stylized approach, and Subverge certainly does that. It's the first game by developer Interactive Tragedy Limited, such a great developer name by the way, and this is a narrative based puzzle game, atmospheric, claustrophobic, intense, and with a doom and dread constantly filling throughout every line in a narrative. But the whole thing is revolving around conversation, reading what people are saying so that you can then understand what order to trigger certain events to take place in so that you get the desired outcome that you want to have happen. I can't explain too much more about Sub-Verge without doing some very minor spoilers, so if you want to go in completely blind, this is a 2 thumbs up experience. It's a short, succinct narrative that has multiple endings, multiple choices, and totally different stories taking place over the course of time, with lots of optional lore that you can uncover by doing the wrong things and discovering the world in a much grander context. And so if that sounds great to you, to have a succinct 90-minute to 2-hour experience where you're like, I really felt that and enjoyed it, Subverge is for you. If you don't mind having some minor spoilers though, 3, 2, 1, you've been warned, I shall begin. The idea with Subverge is that you are this person trapped inside a leaky submersible, but because there are 2 factions at war with each other in this post-apocalyptic Lovecraftian world, you've got the surfacers and the below, depending on which allegiance you're going to declare yourself to, and you have to do that in the main menu of the game each time you play before it kicks off, you'll be wanting to do something very different. And this is how you manipulate the story and the main gameplay mechanic. You inside this submersible is a problem because you're in no man's land and you're considered an intruder from the people that live below the sea. And there's a giant monster going around, a bit like a Lovecraftian Cthulhu, taking over the minds and brains of various different factions and pitting them against each other. And so that's why you're a problem, because you've got lights flashing everywhere and you're disturbing the beasts. But they're not quite sure what to do with you. Do you go back up to the surface or do they take you down below? And so this is where you want to listen to the conversation of the different people discussing what to do with you. And as they do that, their own interpersonal problems start to leak out everywhere. And so you're deciding which order you want to push out levers for them to grab hold of so that they can then push or pull you up and down, because the order in which you push out the handles will dictate who follows what and who's the leader and who will trust one person over another. And then as they have rows, their allegiances and loyalties to each other start to change. And so the order of which you want them to pull the handles will be different. And this is what each phase of Subverge leans into. Listen to the conversation, pick up the clues, understand the rules that these people will follow, and then try and work out what's the right order to do the lever pulling, so that they'll either pull you up or drag you down depending on which phase of the story you're in. The story itself is actually on rails, but if you do things incorrectly or if you try out different ways of triggering the story, you'll discover way more lore about these people and the different problems that they're having, and you'll just find much more of the world coloured in for you. And that was really what stood out to me with Subverge. I was hooked on the actual mechanics of the game itself. The story is fascinating and really well told in a succinct but poignant and pointed fashion, and because everything is so tense and gloomy and claustrophobic, and you've got that kind of sinking feeling because your leaky sub is filling up with water as the game progresses, it's just a really tense environment that I sunk my teeth into and thoroughly enjoyed. The game has multiple endings and multiple factions obviously to choose from to get there, but it also has multiple difficulty levels. And so if you choose it on story mode, the easier mode, it drops in clues for you a little bit more heavy-handed, and it gives you more clarity on the rules of engagement of one person will always trust another, someone will always want to go last, or something like that. And so that really helps you out. If you go for normal or puzzle mode, the cues are way more nuanced and subtle, and it's got less clarity on what the rules of engagement are, so you kind of have to really unpick it as you go. I have to say, Subverge is a really well stylized experience that I thoroughly enjoyed. Its succinctness is one of its strengths because you're in and out with really impactful conversations and big choices from the off, and that makes for a really memorable narrative experience. And just the overarching claustrophobic Lovecraftian vibe of this, it's got an existential dread horror that I really enjoyed without it being a true horror game, which is something that I don't enjoy. So interactive tragedy provided an interactive success for me with Subverge. 2 thumbs up, go grab it.